Welcome to the next episode of VGXL. My name is Daniel, aka Games. Joining me is the beautiful Fefer from the channel Fefer, and today we're going to be going over some gaming news of the week, like Pokemans and EA getting into some single-player games again. Anyway, and if you're not following, definitely give us a follow at VGXL Podcast on Twitter or Video Games X Life anywhere else. Tonight we are recording live on the Twitch channel. That's twitch.tv/Video Games X Life. And where can we find you, Fefer?
You can find me at twitch.tv/Fefer and at Fefer Plays on everything else.
All right. All right, well, thank you everybody who's in the chat joining us. I appreciate that. And if you're listening on the recording, I appreciate you there too, or on YouTube. So make sure to give us a thumbs up. Please like us. If you're watching live, please wait for the recording to go up probably tomorrow, Saturday, and please give us a thumbs up there if you so choose to. It really does help us out, and it'll make me feel like I'm doing something. So yeah, so what you been playing, Fefer? What's going on? How's your week?
My week was good. What did I play? What did I play this week? So this week I played, I played Endling, Extinction is Forever. We're going to start off with that. We're going to start off on a bad note. So, it was so sad. It was really good. It was a really great game.
Mm-hmm.
If you want an emotional roller coaster, play Endling. I'm like, I can't even hate on it. The only thing I don't even want to say hate is, it's not that I hate it. It was just really sad. It was just heartbreaking.
Right. Well, what's that game about again, in case anybody doesn't know what game that is?
Yes, well, no, that would make sense, right? So it's you're a mother fox, and you have your four cubs, your four fox cubs, and you're pretty much just trying to survive. It's like everything like civilization is just kind of gone downhill. Everybody's just trying to survive, and anybody that sees you is trying to hunt you down, and you're just again trying to survive. So you're trying to make sure your cubs are fed, and you're just trying to make it to this one specific area that you'll be pretty much home free, and you
Mm-hmm.
got to just make sure you and your cubs make it there all together. And it's very stressful.
Yeah.
You're trying to make sure your cubs are all fed, and you have all these different obstacles to just to have either your cubs just kind of get eaten up or grabbed or just die or whatever, and you yourself just die, and then there's just your game over. um and but it's great. It's definitely a great game. It's got great music. It
Mm-hmm.
adds to the emotion in it while you're playing through it, because it's just kind of like stuff in the background that you're just kind of walking around and you're figuring out where to go. Oh, that's my only complaint is that I had to keep like every 2 seconds switching back and forth between the main screen that I'm doing my adventure, going through my adventure, and the map, because the map is just a little, I don't want to say complicated. It's not that complicated. I mean, once you go through it, it's you kind of have an idea, but it's just really hard to just make sure, because then different things each time you get caught in a certain area, then the people they'll set up a different trap, or they'll have just something new there to stop you from going to the same place and having an easy way in, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it becomes a little more difficult as you go, and which is really cool because it's not so simple.
Right, right.
And but it's a great play. It's definitely a great play. I definitely recommend it. Just have your box of tissues nearby. If you have any sort of emotional anything inside of you, have a box of tissues. It was definitely a great play though. I do recommend it. What else did I play? I did check out the demo for Kickbot from Two Scoop Games. So shout out to them. It's a really fun game. You only use if you're on controller, you only use the left trigger and the right trigger because you're just boosting. There's
Oh,
no
that's
walking,
right. Uh-huh.
anything. You're just boosting from one side to the left. You eventually kind of build up like a double jump kind of thing, a double boost. So you'll be midair, and then maybe you want to change directions and you want to go back and forth. It's really cool. It's really good. It's really difficult. You have the option for a death counter, which I did. I ended up finishing the demo with like almost 200 deaths
Oh my God.
because that because on one of the levels I was just like you just kind of get so numb to it, and then you just I pressed the trigger and just way too soon sometimes.
Yeah. That's a
And
two
then
just and that's how they advertise it. It's just two buttons for the game, right?
yes, it's just two buttons exactly. But it's really cool. It's really fun. It should be coming out sometime this year. They
Right.
don't have an exact date out, but definitely check out the demo if you like. It's inspired by 90s, those harder 90 games. They mentioned Mega Man being one of them. So
And
if you
like
like
Meat
that,
Boy too, because that's another game
and
that
Meat Boy,
yeah, Meat
yes.
Boy was very much similar. Or that the second Meat Boy game that everyone hated, the Auto Runner. It was an Auto
Oh
Runner,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah. Yeah, yeah, that's right. This wasn't an auto runner.
Oh no?
No,
So you
no,
walk? How do you walk?
you don't. You're just jumping. You
Oh,
just boost over.
the levels moving you? Oh, one's boost,
You
one's jump.
They're both boosts. It's
Oh,
boost. It's just in each direction. So either
mm,
way you're boosting, you just have to take into consideration where you're boosting from. So if you boost over on a wall, then you latch onto the wall, but then you're sliding down.
right. Oh, I
So
see.
if you want to
Okay.
keep on going left and you kind of want to boost up on the wall, you just stay on the left one. If you want to boost over, you just jump over.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
It's really cool.
Interesting.
I think you should give it a try. I think you should check it out.
I would
It's
no,
really cool.
definitely will. I thought it was like more of an auto runner. Interesting. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm. And then after I did that, I played Hooked on You, the game that came out from the people that did Dead by Daylight, which
Right.
uses the characters, the killers specifically in Dead by Daylight. It's a romance dating sim, and
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, I heard some
um,
things about it. Like I know Kotaku put an article. There's an opinion article or whatever, and they weren't too happy with it. So, but you enjoyed it,
yes, I'm loving it. I have not finished my like first playthrough of it just yet.
right?
I am still currently in the middle of trying to swoon the Huntress, and it's very fun. I love the dialogue. It's so silly, and you have the possibility of dying soon, very fast into the game because right away on when you finish your first night, I got an achievement like, "Oh, you survived the first night." Like, it's like you can die, like, immediately. You can die at any point if you say the wrong thing. Right now, I feel very threatened by the other characters because they spoke to me in a certain way, and, I'm not sure how to go about it in this continuing day. So, I'm debating on even streaming it on the next stream just to see, how far I can get into it, if I can successfully, uh swoon kind of get the huntress on my side over here.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. I definitely that one, if you like sim games, um dating sim games rather specifically, I recommend it because then what I played the Kaichu, the demo from one of the past sales, one of the Steam sales in the past, and it's Kaichu, it's a kaiju dating sim, and it wasn't, I don't know, it didn't do anything for me. It was very simple. I feel like I pressed any of the 3 options to for while I was on a date, and it just got me to I don't know, they were just happy with everything that I said. So it was just, like, way too easy. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
don't always
okay.
play them, but it's just, I really liked Hooked on You because I mean, on top of it just being the using the same lore of the killers in Dead by Daylight, because if you know where their if you know their backstories, they actually incorporate that into the game as well as you're kind of trying to get to know them. So I thought
Yeah,
that was really cool. So it's not like they're making a whole big side thing. So that's Behavior Interactive. Again, those are the people that did that make Dead by Daylight. They joined up with PsyOp, who helped them just kind of bring the story to it to make it more of the sim part of it and just
right.
have the little lovey stuff going on. I thought it was really fun. It's really fun. It's really cool. Like I said, dialogue's great. Love it.
Nice. Oh, that's
Yes.
awesome. Glad you enjoyed that. You definitely looked like you were having a good time on your stream,
Yes,
playing
yes,
that
I was
game.
spooning.
Yeah. All right, cool. See, this is why I say you got to try your own stuff, because it's like you've listened to some of these opinions, and it's just like, man, shut the, it's like
Yeah, I
whatever.
can't stand that stuff. Because
Yeah,
if I had gone and just listened to that and they just utterly hate it, I'm sorry, but Kotaku's just lost all just
yeah, they always got something to bitch
credibility.
about. Yeah,
Yeah,
but for
yeah.
me this week, I got randomly addicted to Apex Legends. Like, I don't know. I just decided to turn it on because I spoke to so I was on Idiot Ezra podcast for a couple episodes. You can go check them out on Spotify. He's only on Spotify, not on YouTube. And he mentioned that he likes, that's the game he's been on a lot. So I was like, let me game a little bit with you on that. And I got better. I don't know, out of nowhere, like, obviously I was rusty, I hadn't played in a while, but then it just kind of like I felt really good playing it. Then I started playing arenas, which I had played a little bit when it first came out, but then didn't really stick with it too long. And this time I just was getting wins after win, and like it felt really good to just play the game, like,
Mhm.
and I've been
Mhm.
playing with G Money, and other people have been playing the game still. So it's like, yeah, Apex is still one of the better shooters out. If you want to break from like something like Call of Duty or Warzone, it's definitely one of my favorite BRs. And then the arenas has just been great. Like the 3v3, it really
Mhm.
gives you, like, you just want close quarters fighting, just gets you into the action with that nice shooting that they have. That's exciting. And that's really what I played this week. I didn't really play a whole lot. I think I've just been playing Apex like all week, just stuck on it.
Oh. Oh, I know, I forgot. I forgot to mention, I did also play, and I remember this because you were playing this before, Power Washing Simulator.
Oh, that's true. That's right. I forgot you played that. I also played. I played a little bit of that last night. I played for like 2 hours straight. Just got totally stuck on it. If you haven't, it's on Game Pass, or it's like 20 or $30. It's, and I
Mhm.
recommend it. It's just a chill, relaxing game. You want something to do, just something to get those dopamine receptors going. Like, Power Wash Simulator is definitely one relaxing game. It's just
Yes.
power. It's literally just that. It's real simple. I will say that they need some. It could have benefited from a little bit of, you know, copyright free music or something in the background. But if anything,
Mhm.
I highly suggest throwing on some music and just get to work and have a good time. It's multiplayer as well. You can clean shit with people. And what I think is really cool is that it does like a really like a snapshot of like almost like what's that called, when the camera takes slow pictures or whatever. um it shows you like it does like a little replay of
Yes.
you cleaning or
Yes, yes,
whatever,
yes.
like one of those time lapse,
Mhm.
like a time
There you
lapse
go.
or
Mhm.
whatever. So it's just like, you like kind of jumping
Yeah.
around or whatever,
I
cleaning
know, it's
everything.
funny.
It's so rewarding to see like what it was to then it being clean at the end. So yeah, definitely I highly recommend. Like everyone's already been saying, and funny enough, it's published by Square Enix, of all people, of
Yes,
all
I thought that was so
companies.
funny
I
when I found
know,
that out.
like Square, what the hell. But yeah, so that's really that and Apex. That's what I've been playing. And I was gonna say, well, I'll talk about that in a minute though. We can move on to some news or whatnot for this week. Wait, what did I play on stream? I didn't play on different on stream, right? What did I play on stream this week? I know I've streamed on Monday. I completely forgot what the hell I played. It
Mm.
was I forgot. Oh well. Nintendo will
Oh,
not, what?
Aliens, Fireteam
Oh,
Elite.
that's right. We both played that. Alien
Yeah, we did
Fireteam
play
Elite.
that.
Fun little game. That's also on Game Pass. Fun little game.
That is also on Game
If you
Pass.
want,
Yes, that was fun.
three, I think it's up to four friends, you
Yes.
and three other friends, and then it's You know, you go through the level killing aliens, and you know you have some objectives, and I don't know, it was fun. It was fun. It's a, you know, mindless shooting, nothing crazy. It feels like a, you know, like a typical shooter, like an average, you know, wave PvE wave shooter or whatever. It's fun. It's fun. It's definitely worth checking out on Game Pass. I'll tell you that much.
I definitely had a good time on it because you're just kind of backing each other up
And then you have the classes and the tools. Yeah.
yes, exactly.
Yeah,
So
so
I
that was
thought that was
cool.
really
Yeah,
fun.
like almost like Killing Floor, where you have your different classes, and you know, like I was like a technician, and I had like I can throw out like my turrets, and you were like you played the other, just like the main job or whatever, like the easier
Yeah,
one.
I was jumping around the different
Yeah,
jobs trying to figure out which one I really liked, but they were all really cool. Um, yeah, no, it was fun. I enjoyed
yeah.
it.
So moving on. I mean, this is nothing surprising. Nintendo is not going to be announced earlier this week that they're not going to be making any new hardware this year or for the fiscal year. So nothing before March. I have a feeling we're getting an announcement soon. If we don't get an announcement by the end of the year, we're getting, I would say by like January, February, we're getting an announcement, or at least at maybe the beginning of their fiscal year. But I have a feeling they're going to do it because they didn't announce the Switch until like September 2016 with a March release date. So I fully expect them to do the same thing next year. We're not gonna, you know, and I don't know. I'm kind of getting convinced because everybody's buying Switches. They're selling like hotcakes. So I'm kind of convinced that at this point they're probably gonna end up with like a Switch Pro or something like it's definitely gonna play every old Switch game. That's for sure. It's definitely gonna play every old Switch game. If it doesn't play, I mean, rather, it's gonna play every Switch game. If it has games that aren't gonna run on the old Switch, that remains to be seen. But I don't think any game like that's gonna come out right away. I feel like whatever their first, like Zelda, definitely gonna be cross-gen. Definitely, I'm calling that from now. Just like they did with on the GameCube. It was, you know, you got Twilight Princess came out on GameCube and the Wii. Breath of the Wild came out on
Wii U.
On the Wii U and the Switch. So I fully expect them to sell Switch 2s or Switch Pros, you know, without hurting the people who can't afford it, don't want to upgrade, or just bought a Switch this year. You're still going to be able to play Zelda, but if you want the definitive looking edition, that's going to run on this, you know, that's the one you're going to want. And I think they'll slowly phase out games. Like you're still going to get like a year, in my opinion, they're going to get like a year's worth of first party titles, maybe even 2 years worth, that are still, they're going to look ugly, but they're going to run on the old Switch, and they're not going to utilize that power till later. Like, you know, like then when it's like, okay, sorry everyone. Just like right now, just like they're probably watching Sony and Microsoft do the same thing. Like, look at them. They're running you know, they're still releasing things for the old Switch while releasing next gen only versions. So they're either going to do something like that, or they're going to do where, you know, yeah, something like that. They're gonna do that, like, you know, or it's just gonna be a souped up one. But I have a big feeling that they're just gonna be like, it's gonna come out on the Switch too, but nothing's gonna be exclusive to it for a while, and you know whatnot. So, and sticking with Nintendo, you covered the Pokemon Direct this week, right?
Yes, I can't wait for Violet. I like Violet. I love it.
Oh, the legendary.
The legendaries, yes. It was so funny. I saw something on Twitter. They were cracking jokes on the fact that the Scarlet Legendary had the arms, but it was still like kind of running around, or it had the wheels too. I
But it
don't know.
was
They were
running
just
around. Yeah, that was
yeah.
the red one that I'm like, why isn't that one using the wheels? That's so stupid. Which it sucks because I'm normally the blue or purple. You know, now they switch between blue and purple or whatever, some kind of blue or whatever. You know, but Violet is the blue version and Scarlet's the red version. I normally go blue, but it's like, I don't know, if you want, I don't really care, honestly. But I am looking forward to it. The open world looks pretty. You said dibs? Oh no! Now I'm gonna have to buy 3 copies of the damn game. But yeah. So, but I'm looking forward to it. I you know, it's gonna probably go back to the regular battling. They added that like I forgot the name, that stupid name where they crystallize themselves. Some people were
Yes.
upset about it, some people liked it. I think I saw someone make an argument like even though it looks a little gimmicky, like Z moves were kind of stupid back in like X and Y. They added they're saying that this one, because when they crystallize they can change their type.
Your
So you
type.
can have a grass type, someone whips out a fire type, you can just crystallize and turn into an ice type all of a sudden, or whatever fire is weak against, or stone or whatever, let's say. Yeah, like turn into a stone type, and fucking, you know, fire can't do shit to you or whatever it is. But it's been a while. So so I mean that makes sense. That can make for some strategies. So I that was actually kind of cool to think about. But you know, I hope it has all. And the other thing that kind of stuck out to me is 3 storylines. So there's gonna be like the gym. Remember, you can go anywhere you want.
Yes.
It doesn't scale. I don't know if you knew that. It doesn't scale. So if you want to go to the last gym, you can, but it won't scale or whatever. But you can. So if you think you're strong enough, you can pretty much go in any order. I'm sure it's gonna still be a little bit of like a soft order or whatever.
Yes.
And if you grind and do enough, I'm sure, you know, it must mean that you don't need to advance. It has to mean that, because look, the way the old Pokemon games normally work is you can't control a high level Pokemon until you've gotten a certain gym, to a certain gym, or to a certain amount of badges. So if you want, you know, level 30, you have to get like 2 gym badges to control level 30. Does that mean that it's omitting that? You can just go grind and go fight the final gym lead, or quote unquote the final would be the hardest one? I wonder, because maybe the amount of badges, because it could be that. So maybe the amount of badges, but something's got to change there, because if you can go to the last one, that means you have to control high level Pokemon. So I'm wondering if that's what that means. But then there's going to be 2 other storylines besides that. So that sounds interesting. And people are assuming that might mean more, what was it? Like maybe the national decks or whatever to fill that out more, or something, or it's going to add, you know, other things. So, but there's going to be other storylines, and that gets me excited, because I've always wanted a storyline in Pokemon. Like, I want to be able to enjoy my time there in the world as well as capturing the monsters. And a lot of times they make that part hard, where it's like a corny story, or like, you know, or Sword and Shield was too lighthearted. Like, your rival's not even a rival. He's all happy and chipper and like, oh, you kicked my ass, and he's still smiling, and it's just like,
Yes.
you know,
Why are you so happy?
like some of the more memorable Pokemon stories. And that, you know, it sucks because the one that a lot of people stopped before was X and Y. I mean, excuse me, White and Black and White rather, and Black and White 2. And those apparently had like deeper stories, or like more coherent stories. And then it was the least played. But I think that's when all of us in that age group were like transitioning out of Pokemon for a little while and didn't come back to like X and Y, and it went more 3D. But X and Y was kind of a typical boring story up until the end, and then once you found out the final boss's like motivations, then it got deep. Like, he didn't like that people controlled the monsters, so he thought that it made people evil, so he wanted to like destroy the whole world. Like, it got super dark, and I was like, what the fuck just happened? I went from lighthearted Pokemon to my man wants to destroy the entire planet and kill everyone. He's like, if I get rid of everybody, then Pokemon can live happy and peaceful. Like, he was a fanatic like of Pokemon, like, you know, to the point where he wanted to kill all humans, to have a world run only by Pokemon. I thought that shit was so crazy. I was like,
That's wild.
That's what I want to read. I want to see death and destruction in my Pokemon games. Not enough of that. So yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. And like I always say, like Sword and Shield, I was looking forward to it. I played it and I was just like, ugh. And I didn't even grind a little bit. I beat the game and I put it down and didn't look at it again at all. Normally I stick with them. I do the extra shit and I go running around, and you know, I start ticking all the little boxes that you need to do to like really complete, like feel like you completed a Pokemon game. I beat the final 4. I was like, all right, I'm done with this game. I I just kept it moving. And then and that's it. I didn't play Diamond and Pearl remakes, which is like a first in a while to not play the remake of it. You know, I don't know. I wasn't in the mood. Maybe if this gets me really back into it and I want more, maybe I'll pick those up, but I don't know. But you're excited for this one, right?
I am excited for this one, and I haven't been excited for one in a while, because Yeah, it's because what the last one that I tried was Shield.
You tried Shield, yeah.
I did try Shield. I don't know. It didn't get my
Yeah.
attention. Before that, Alola. I played a little bit of that Sun and Moon.
You played a
I don't
lot of that
remember.
one. I don't know if you
I
beat
did
it
play.
though, but I
I
know
didn't beat it.
you
No,
didn't
the
beat
one
Moon,
that I
right?
got.
Then Y is
Mm-mm.
what you beat.
Why?
Yeah, because you think you beat that one first, and then I beat it or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. I know you got to the end of Y or whatever and beat that game. Yeah, because we played. I played the shit out of that one, and then
Yeah,
that's what.
that one I was really into. That
Yeah,
one we were like really going in on that one because then the trading system or something. I feel that one had the really good trading system in there, right?
I think
That you
so.
can
Like
just
the
kind of like set something up and then people would just like trade it
yeah,
and
you can
whatever.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then that was the I like the online in that one because you could just connect to a room. It would put you with a bunch of random people, and then you can do trades or just hang out or put little stickers, and you were like in a room like with a bunch of other players, and I thought that was really cool being in a in a room with other players or whatnot. So that was
Yeah,
really
no, that
really
sounds awesome. I never really got to do that, but I thought it was just really cool, just the trading system. Because then I know we used to try to set up the trades between us and Nicholas.
yes. That's it's funny. That's who just texted me. That's why I was looking at my
Oh,
phone.
that's
Yeah,
funny.
I told him we'll be there tomorrow.
Yes, yes,
Maybe Fever over here.
baby
But yeah,
fever.
yeah, when we trade, yeah, we used to trade and do all that. So that like this one, I'm definitely looking forward to. So that'd be cool.
Yes.
Um, what else we got here? So, Multiverses is finally out, even though kind of um, they were gonna do the battle pass for season one or whatnot that got pushed back, and the character Morty got pushed back. But
Oh,
it's gonna when it does come out, it's gonna be about 50 tiers and be like $10. So typical or whatever. And but a complaint that I
okay.
did see was that people weren't happy with the hit detection or whatever. So apparently they're gonna
Mm,
overhaul that whole the hit boxes and hit detection system. It's getting like a full overhaul. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. It looks like this game's probably gonna go through its growing pains before it's like the players are as happy as they want to be. It's probably gonna be Smash by the time like
mm-hmm.
a year passes. It's gonna just be Smash.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what else? Some good news on the Microsoft side. So apparently when the Series S came out, they were a lot developers were coming out and stating how like they didn't like the memory limitations, and it's very hard to develop for it. It makes it harder because then they have to try hard for this system, while you have the Series X and the PS5. Now you have this gimpy system. So I guess Microsoft figured out a way to lower the memory requirements or use for for the Series S, so or for the OS on the Series S, and so that
Mm.
developers can use that for their game. So it'll dedicate more memory, I guess, to free up more memory. It says hundreds of megas, so I'm sure it's probably gonna. If I had to guess, it's a 10 gig of RAM system, with 8 being for gaming and 10 and 2 being for the operating system. I have a feeling it's gonna probably be like 1.5 for the operating system, and 8.5 now for the so if it's hundreds of megabytes, which it has to be, I'm sure about 512. If not 512, then maybe 250. That's how it works anyway. So they'll
Mhm,
probably either
mhm,
give it
exactly.
like 256 next 250 or 512 if they can, if possible. You know what I mean? I'm sure they're trying to work towards 512 megabytes of RAM. And if that helps it boost it up to that much more for people who only bought that system, then great. Maybe they'll get a few more frames out of that, or lock more games at 45 to 60 frames per second, because that's really what these games need.
That's exactly what they need, yeah.
And they should just lock that system to 1080p, man. I don't know what they thought doing 1440p. Like they should, I feel like the newer system should have been 1440p, and you want 4K, well, go get a PC if you want 4K and spend $1,000. You know what I mean? Like those machines probably can do 2K really nice, which is 1440p looks really nice. If I can have maxed out graphics, 60 FPS or more, maybe 120 FPS at 1440p, that's more than enough for most games. Like you don't really, 4K looks nice. Don't get me wrong, it looks really great. It's just that's the nice middle ground. It's a perfect middle ground where you get high
Mhm.
frames, great graphics, better than 1080p, a little less than 4K, but still looking really great.
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
whatnot. So it is what it is. I was thinking, and also with Microsoft, the other thing they announced that they're testing this week is the Game Pass Family Plan. So Game Pass Ultimate Family Plan.
Finally.
Yes.
That's what we need.
We definitely need that because it's you can kind of share your one account with one other person. You can, but you can't do it. That's it. It's only one other person. So right now, if you're on PC and you want to share with a friend or like we do, one of the children they have their own PC that they can play and they want to use Game Pass. What they have to do is they can sign in with their regular gamer tag on the Game Pass app, but the store through Windows itself has to be signed in by who's ever subscribing to Game Pass. And that's you have to do all that whole rigmarole or whatever. And it won't just like, oh hey, did your store account, it's different from your Xbox account, and it's like yes, I get it. So that's how you do it now. But I'd pay $10 more if it means that everybody could just grab whatever game they want. That's worth it for a lot of families, in my opinion.
Of course.
And we have Xboxes too, and PCs and all that. So it's like having Game Pass everywhere, and everyone can access the cloud and the regular installs. That's great. So
Absolutely. We would definitely make the most use out of that. We have so many different like you said, we have the computers, we have Xboxes to actually be able to use that Game Pass and you really utilize it between all four of us here.
exactly. And I
That'd be
think,
great.
and like I said, I think right now they're trying it out in few countries or whatnot, but they definitely gonna have like I said, I think it's looking like I mean, it makes sense because I mean, that's usually how it works. You pay a little less than what 2 subs cost, which I think makes the most sense. So instead of $15, you pay 25, and if I get $5 off 2 subscriptions, which I think is nice.
That's great.
Yeah, so that we'll go from there. In other news, Tencent, they're gobbling everybody up. They're looking to buy or buy more stake in Ubisoft. Oh, Ubisoft. So it's like they tried so hard before they turned into the Ubisoft of today. Like, there's a reason why they turned into what they turned into. So Vivendi, which is a massive media company, was trying to do a hostile takeover. And so to stop that, they had to ask the country of, they asked Canada or whatever to help buy the bail them out of their financials and whatever, so they can buy back their own stock and say and be like, no, stop the hostile takeover. And then they went to what we have today. They needed to make a lot of money and a lot of money fast, so they went with all these freaking microtransaction games. That's really the downfall of Ubisoft, was that whole thing.
It really is.
Yeah, and Vivendi probably would have turned them into that anyway. But now it's like they're finally realizing it's just rough out here in these streets. It's rough, for these game companies. Everybody's trying so hard, to and I guess I'll just combine it with this story. Square's doing the same thing. As you know, the Square got rid of their North American arm or their Western division of their games. So they got Crystal Dynamics, Tomb Raider, Deus Ex. They got rid of all those IPs or whatnot because they weren't making freaking gangbusters. They sold well, but not well enough for Square apparently. And Embracer Group bought them out for $300 million, which is like bargain bin price for those classic IPs that you can do so much with. So it's, what was I gonna say? Also, Square's also looking to sell more, to get rid of more apparently. So it's not just it's not just their Western division, but apparently they're going to be selling off more stuff and focusing on their Japanese titles. So it looks like Final Fantasy, they're going all in with Final Fantasy and and remakes of other little Japanese games. As you see, I mean, we're getting a Final Fantasy game every 6 months for the next 2 years, or for the next year. For the next year, we're getting a Final Fantasy game every 6 months. We're getting what was that called? Crisis Core, a reunion in this winter, 16 next summer, and a few months later we should be getting the expansion to Endwalker, or the whatever the follow-up to Endwalker is. Should be a year from now. So we're also getting that. So we're getting 16 and the next expansion to 14, and then
Mm-hmm.
that 6 months after that is 7 part 2. So we still haven't heard from the Nvidia leak of Final Fantasy 9 remake. So I'm like, can't like that's I don't even know how that's gonna be, but that's exciting. That's super exciting.
Of course.
Because Final Fantasy 9, I think, is a game you would like. Like, if you're gonna ever try another Final Fantasy, like you did 7,
Mm-hmm.
9 was
Mm-hmm.
really, really good because of how silly that game was. That you play as you're a band of pirates or whatever, and you start the game to the tutorial of the game is fighting your boss or whatever of the ship, and he's like this giant pig guy, and it's high fantasy. It's high fantasy, so that's where Vivi is from, the little
Oh yes, 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 yes. Mm-hmm.
that Hildebrand had his whole adventure with or
Yes.
whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
the main character has like a tail, he's whatever, and it's real high fantasy with different beast tribes and things like that. And the humor is great. I love the humor in that, so they can bring back that silliness or whatever. There's a whole play in it or whatever, and you guys, that's how you're there to steal the princess. So you're in the play or whatever and performing in front of everybody, and it was just a whole tutorial essentially is the play. So you learn how to fight, you learn how to do all the things in this play, and this the opening is amazing. It's like it's pure like Final Fantasy, like old school. Like it got away from the whole like dreary like teenager Final Fantasy of 7 and 8 and went back to like 6 and 5 and 4 and what made those quirky and fun. Telling you,
Mm-hmm.
if they really do a remake of 9, I'm gonna pester you to pay that one, because
I'm
that one
down.
is, I think, gonna be more up your alley with the quirkiness and the jokes and the silliness, as well as obviously it's gonna get serious later on
Of
or
course.
whatever. But 9, very underrated game, very underrated. People like 8, and it was underrated at the time. Like nobody liked 9. Oh, they looks the same thing happened to Wind Waker. Oh, it looks chibi, and they went back to chibi graphics, and nobody. I was like, oh, they're going back to the old graphics, like and people didn't like it. Fucking bum ass teenagers from back in there, the fanboys from back in the day, or the gamers from back, they always ruin fucking games, like with their bullshit like idea. And then now all these years later, everyone loves freaking 9. Oh, 9's like, I'm like, where were you back in 2001 or whatever that came out? No, 1999 when that came out, and nobody was playing that shit.
Damn. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I'm down to try. I know you mentioned which is the one with the opera. Is that 6?
6.
That's 6. Because every time you speak of a Final Fantasy, you're just like, so like, oh my God, it's so good because of this and that. It's just I'm always torn on which one to go with next. And then we have the 7 remake that's coming out in parts, and I'm like, but I kind of wanted to get into that because then I won the copy from JNL,
Yeah,
and so I'm always just constantly torn because I know they're such big games on top of that.
it's such a good game though. I think you should totally check out 7 remake. It's such a fun, like, just a fun overall game, like
Mm-hmm.
to really get, like, sink your teeth into. And the whole dress scene and the storytelling was really good. The fighting was really fun. I found it really fun. And I was a little sad, obviously. I wouldn't mind turn based, but gotta say, definitely a really good, the battle system in 7 really was really well done. Really, really well
Mm-hmm.
done. The fact that,
Mm-hmm.
like, when you play as Tifa, she feels very different. It's not just like, because when you go back to the old games, they all essentially control, if you want to call it that, the same. You just pick the move that they
Mm-hmm.
want to do, whatever. No, like, now you have like a combos you have to do with Tifa, and she punches and all that. Barrett with his machine gun, so it's like they play very different.
Mm-hmm.
She has different dodge mechanics and all that because she's a monk, you know what I mean? So she's fighting with her hands.
Exactly.
She
Mm-hmm.
is so much fun to play with. I'm telling you, that game was really, really, really well done. I can't wait for the next one. Just for the battling alone was worth it. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But so yeah, they're gonna be focusing a lot on that or whatnot. Oh, we were talking about Nintendo before. With them,
Oh
they
yes.
you saw that there. So I think as of yesterday, the new DLC for Mario Kart is out. So if you haven't downloaded that, definitely go check that out. If you pay for the Nintendo, like, what is it,
It's like
Nintendo
the
Online
premiere.
expansion, yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
extra
whatever the
$25
mhm.
that's included. You should have access to the new, and it's a new track if I'm not mistaken, as well as for additional old school tracks or whatever. So That's cool. We
Time
gotta
to go
play.
back to Mario
Yeah, we gotta
Kart.
play. It's time. Like it's been too long, and now there's a bunch of extra tracks. It's like that should make it like 8 more tracks if I'm not mistaken. Or yeah, I think it was. Oh, it might have been 8 that released. I don't even remember now. But yeah,
Yeah, so everybody dust off your switches, put the Steam Decks down.
yeah. Um,
Let's spend some time on some Mario Kart there.
well, exactly right. But now that you mentioned the Steam Deck,
Oh, right. Oh, you're welcome.
freaking Insomniac just mentioned that
Mhm.
Spider-Man Remastered is deck verified. Woo!
Yes.
Yes,
That's
but
great.
that's yo playing
That's
Spider-Man
yeah.
just like in bed, like on the Steam. That's gonna be so much fun. Like that's gonna be so crazy to play that game on the Steam Deck. Like
Mhm.
I'm gonna buy that shit day one. I'm buying that shit day one just because I can play it on the Steam Deck. Yeah, I can play it, watch it in 4K, and I have all the maximum requirements, like the recommended specs. I have all of that in my machine right now. 3080. You need what's that called? The AMD what do I have? It was the like the same number too. It's like 90. Was it 90? Wow, I forgot the number of my AMD. I forgot.
You forgot?
Yeah,
What is the meaning of this?
I know. I'm like drawing a blank right now. Like, what the hell's the name of their freaking desktop system? The Ryzen 5. Oh, holy shit!
Wow.
Now this is gonna bother me. Now everyone has to wait until I remember what the hell.
See what you all did.
5900X. Jesus, the 5900X. That's what you need. That's the recommended, one of the recommended CPUs. Yeah,
I'm disappointed in
I
you.
know. I'm like usually the freaking nerd when it comes to this stuff. I just completely blanked out. Yeah, the 5900X is what you need. So I have and 32 gigs of RAM. So I'm like, oh, I'm ready for Spider-Man on the 4K screen. You know, that's for 4K 60, ray tracing turned on. Like I can't wait to see that game. But yeah, I think you have the next one.
Oh, yes. So, last week there was an update. There was a free update in Sims. It was like something for the high school years expansion. And with that expansion, um, there was there's some weird glitch that got updated in there with the Sims growing old, really like aging really rapidly, as well as incest.
Oh my
So,
god.
so Sims would start just kind of trying to be a little romantic with their sibling in the game or
Oh,
and whatnot.
stepbrother. I'm stuck in
Exactly.
the washing
Help me,
machine.
stepbrother. Help. And that was kind of short-lived, and they did fix that update this current week because that was sometime last week that they updated that to add it in, and this week they took it out, which I find kind of weird. Like, how does that even happen? Do you think like somebody on the back end was like, yeah, let's just do this real quick. And then somebody just kind of like egged them on, yeah, fuck it. Like, just go ahead, do it. And then we'll see if anybody notices. And then, of course, people started noticing right away because they saw this one clip and then they're like, wait a minute. If they started feeling romantic about this and then you start checking the stats and it says, oh, in feeling something or whatever romantically with so and so, which was in their family, and they're like, "No!" It was so funny. It's so weird, but I don't know.
That's
Maybe they
gross.
were trying to pull a fast one, and then they got busted, and they're like, "Okay, fine. Let's take it back. Pull it back. Pull it
Right,
back."
just to cause some controversy to remind
You
people Sims
know?
exist. Like, you know,
Yes.
hey, but it kind of worked.
It
uh
did. So that has been fixed. Other than that, then the last thing that I do have to say, so it's August. August, and what's in August? Gamescom. So it is returning to in person this year, but they're still gonna have like a virtual portion. So then it's gonna actually kick off on August 23rd. The like games night, I forget what it's called,
No, is it
live.
the 24th? No, or it's
It's
the 23rd is opening night live.
opening night live is gonna be the 23rd.
Oh,
And then it's gonna run from the 24th, which is that Wednesday, to the 28th, that Sunday. So keep an eye out. Keep an eye out with all the different things that they'll be showing. I'm gonna keep an eye out, and hopefully we'll get some devs reaching out to see if we play some of their games, because I
oh,
would love that.
exactly. I just realized that Keely posted, yeah, so he said that the 23rd, like you said, and then in-person tickets and co-streaming info are coming next week, so I should be getting that information. I know we're supposed to be gone that week, so we'll see. I probably won't be covering ONL, but hey, you never know, maybe we'll do something from wherever we are, if you know, time and internet, internet access allowing or whatever.
Mhm.
That'd be cool
Mhm.
to do something. But if not, we're definitely gonna be recording our thoughts and everything. That'll be a fun. Hey, that's during your vacation. They're in the chat, so that's good. We should go on vacation together.
Yay.
um, but yeah, it's also during my vacation, so like I
Yes.
said, we may not be covering that. But yeah, so so when I talk about something I found really interesting this week. That's it for the news. This is also news, but I just wanted to spend a little bit of time on this. So, so earlier this week, right, as we all know, like Sony, rather Microsoft bought Activision, Blizzard, King, whatnot, and they're going to be
Mhm.
owning Call of Duty, and that still hasn't passed yet. They're still going through regulatory hearings and all that. So, I think in Brazil, Sony was making a case against it, and they started talking about very candidly, mind you, about Call of Duty, and I just found it really interesting how what they said, like pretty much bringing up the fact that Call of Duty is its own like entity. Like there's no real competition on the same level. While there is competition, obviously, like Apex and Battlefield and amongst many other shooters, nothing really is as big as Call of Duty, and it's something that
Mhm.
it makes perfect sense. So their whole argument is like them owning that is going to be detrimental because people buy consoles for that game, and that is true. It's its own like subdivision of gaming, you know what I mean? There's
Mhm.
gaming, and then there's Call of Duty, and it's true. It's like it's almost like gaming, mobile gaming, you know what I mean? You're not really putting them in the same place. Like people don't want to call a mobile gamer that games exclusively on phones a gamer. Like people refuse to acknowledge that, which I mean they're still gamers, but they're a different type. It's its own field of gaming, you know what I mean? And to say,
Mhm.
and then you have Call of Duty, which again, I have friends, I'm a nerd when it comes to video games, but you could have the most hood street person, gangster, probably plays Call of Duty. You know what I'm saying? Like people who will never play while I'm playing Final Fantasy 14, while I'm playing if Fefer's playing some random indie or whatever, a dating sim, you have people who will spend $400-500 on a console just for Call of Duty, and it really is a league of its own. And I don't
It
know,
is
what do you
though.
think about that, Fefer?
It really is though, because people look at, let's take for example, let's bring in the Idiot Ezra.
Exactly.
That's all he played for how long? Like even he even tried branching out, trying to play different games. He tried to pick a random indie. He tried to pick he tried there was a spurt that he had that he was trying different random
Yeah,
games,
he even played Valheim. I'll give him that. He
He
actually
even
tried.
played Valheim,
Yeah.
But that like Call of Duty is like his ball and chain,
Exactly.
He kept
He
on
has
going back.
more hours on that game than I think I gamed at all last year. Like he has more hours
Exactly.
playing. He's a bigger gamer than me that plays one game. And I've played I beat like 7 or 8 titles last year. This year, I've already beaten like 4 or 5 titles, which I have to up that number a little bit. And he's probably played more games than me this entire year, and that's what's crazy, and that's why Call of Duty is really a league of its own. It's it was interesting to hear them talk about it like it sells console. And then people on Twitter, of course, they're using this for freaking console war bullshit. But and they, that's what I hate about console war bullshit, because they say ignorant shit like no one's paying $500 just to play Call of Duty. Yes, they are. Are you crazy?
They are, though.
You know how many people own a PlayStation 4 who don't own anything else but maybe 2K,
exactly,
maybe a 2K sports title, maybe FIFA, and Call of Duty, and every Call of Duty that's come out every year since they got their PlayStation. Even I got sucked into it. Like I was so against Call of Duty. I was like, I'm playing Destiny, I play Halo, fuck Call of Duty. And even I am excited for Modern Warfare later this year. I'm super hyped for that game later this year. And it's like, I think Sony saw that. Sony knows that, and that's why they scooped up Destiny, because I think they are aware, or they think, or rather they know that this is going to probably go through this Activision shit. But it's like at the same time, they had to make sure to get their own. They need their own golden goose, which they don't have. So now they own they essentially own Destiny, you could say. And as that continues to grow, and or whatever, hopefully Bungie's definitely working on another game, because they got $100 million from NetEase and before they got bought out. So there's definitely another game being made there somewhere. And Epic has Fortnite, you know what I'm saying? So Microsoft has Call of Duty, and EA, unless Sony goes and buys EA, which I don't think is happening, which I think to me would be the smartest move. Go own Respawn.
That would be smart,
right?
Absolutely. If they go and scooped up Apex.
Yep, that's what you need. You guys should have spent save those billions on and bought EA. That's really who they should have bought. And EA said they were willing to sell. Sony should have bought EA. Because then you would have had Battlefield, the IP. Yes, I know this year sucked, but Vince Zampella, the creator of Infinity Ward, is in charge of Battlefield. So hopefully we get a nice, feeling good Battlefield in a couple of years. And whatever. But still, Apex is only growing. And Battlefield is gonna make its comeback. It's gonna come back. And they're not. That's a franchise that they're not gonna let die. So
absolutely,
those two, and technically Titanfall. I mean, you have Titanfall still there. That's like the
Titanfalls. I'm sure they've got that in their back pocket somewhere. They have to be. They know the people that love Titanfall 2 are still there, hoping, wishing, waiting, and loyal to the title.
Yep. Exactly. People are like I'm pretty sure, and they're coming out with a single player Apex game, which is a little disappointing, but fine. And I understand that, because it's the Titanfall universe in technology only, and like some of the flora and fauna of the Titanfall universe, like there's monsters and stuff from Titanfall that are in Apex or whatever, but it's barely based on the time. That's why they're calling this the Apex universe, because it's with those characters that are in it, the Apex characters, because there's Apex characters that show up not from Apex Legends, but they're called Apex or whatever in Titanfall, and that's why we have Apex Legends. So there is some tie-in, but it's a very loose tie-in. And so a single player game that's focused on mobility apparently sounds awesome. Like I'm waiting for that. But yeah, so it's like, I honestly think that like Sony should have went with EA. Maybe there's regulatory things that they knew they would have to go through, or maybe the money's just too much to really make a big deal. Because EA was willing to sell, and there's still franchises that are dormant, because remember, even though Anthem was a failure, it's still there. It's still something that they could just come out of left field one day and say,
imagine
Anthem 2027 or whatever. Where they really do it right. Like Anthem is still there. So, and then now, so like, I don't know, like it's just crazy to think about that. Like, Call of Duty really is its own behemoth, that Microsoft owning that could really turn the tide of Sony being on, above them, because Nintendo's still the ones on top as far as console and software sales, but Sony's right there in a second place, and that's all hardcore gamers care about. And the casuals, I mean, come on, you're a casual. Like they said, oh, who's going to spend 500? Yeah, exactly. So imagine the casual who only cares about Call of Duty now gets all they got to do is sub when they want to play Call of Duty. And you don't even have to stay subbed. Remember, you're not playing anymore. Cancel your sub. Oh, you know what? I'm getting the itch again. Let me turn my
Exactly.
sub back on. You know, and if you don't care about Ultimate, it's $10. You know what I mean? And if you haven't been, you know, if they're still doing these things, it may be $1. You know, until you're tired of Call of Duty. So I could see people saying, you know what? Why am I gonna buy a PlayStation when all I do is play Call of Duty? I'll just play it on Game Pass. The casual market, you know, people forget is vaster than the hardcore market. That's why Nintendo ignores the hardcore market, because it's like it's y'all hardcore motherfuckers that screwed us up. We thought we went and made this powerful GameCube. The GameCube was super powerful. Nobody bought it. Why? Because oh, it looked like a lunchbox. Oh, because Wind Waker looks like a kiddie game. Like all these hardcore bitch ass people, you know, there's loud, and it's like they got once they got rid of that as their demographic or anybody they cater to, they've been on top. Except for the Wii U, they just screwed up with that shit. Like then
Bring
the
back Double
casuals,
Dash.
then the hardcore knew that the Wii U was good. You know, that's probably who bought the Wii U, because it only sold 13 million.
Mhm.
So those 13 million people who bought a Wii U, that's probably closer to the hardcore market.
I stand by the Wii U, okay?
So do I.
I loved playing Breath of the Wild on there. I really did. It was really it felt really good. And Pikmin. That's it.
What I will
That's all I got
say,
to say.
what I will say is that for Breath of the Wild was a lesser game because of Switch. It was a lesser game. We missed out
Mhm.
on probably one of the most like it still turned out to be a lot of people's favorite Zelda of all time, but it would have been one of the greatest games like made like till this day still, because
Mhm.
with the
Mhm.
functionality of the Wii U, like just technologically, you know, different than anything out today if it would have been on the Wii U, because you would have had your maps. Who knows what puzzles they would have had ready for you on there. You know, like that's why there was no dungeons. There was 4 dungeons, which means that I'm
Yeah.
sure 4 of them had to get cut because they were gonna focus on the Switch. I'm sure of that. I bet you anything that's probably what happened. They probably had dungeons that were gonna use whatever. Because remember, that's what Zelda has become, a tech demo, you know, a fully fledged
Yeah.
game that's also is a giant massive tech demo for their
Mhm.
console. That's what every Nintendo first party Nintendo game kind of is a tech demo for what the console is capable of. So I know they were going to focus on that. Who it had a camera in it, it had, you know, all the touch screen. So who knows what puzzles
Mhm.
they would have had using, you know, all those things, you know, the microphone and all that. Like that's where they were good. Well, we got a bunch of shrines, you know, and it's like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like
Bunch
we
of
got a
shining
less we
buttock
got
seeds.
yeah, exactly. And you know, we got so like I said, we got the lesser Zelda because nobody bought the Wii U. So we got a, you know, they had to focus on the Switch, and we got a lesser version of that. That's why I'm like, I think honestly, you know, now well that anyway, that's going back to like hardcore gamers. I, you know, like they're the ones that kind of either help things, you know, or they're, you know, whatever, or they're detriment to their own fucking, you know, hobby. And
Mhm.
so it's like Xbox, Microsoft, they focus on the hardcore market with casual, obviously, and Nintendo does its own, just focuses on kids and casuals only. But Call of Duty is that like bridge that helps Sony and Microsoft get the other the FPS casuals, you know what I mean, that want to play those
Exactly.
games. So it's like, I don't know. Like it's gonna be really, really interesting. I gotta say, like I'm excited to see what happens.
That'd be really like it's just stuck in my head like that would be just wild if Sony did really just kind of come out of left field and scoop up Respawn and EA. Because like you said, Call of Duty is its own thing. Then Epic has Fortnite, which also is its own thing, especially since they recently came out with the no build mode. People are flocking over to that and they're
Yeah,
having fun with it, you
yeah.
know? And then imagine if you have Sony with Apex and all that. Oh man.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And then, like I said, you still have Titanfall in the
Mhm.
background there, like waiting for a massive release. That would
Yup.
be a great purchase. I don't know. I think that I would, if they were gonna purchase anybody, I feel like that would have been the smart move. They already know about surprise mechanics with microtransactions, and they know, they know about all that already. If that's what they need, if they needed a publisher that knew its way around microtransactions and how to trick people into that. I mean, EA does have some studios that are successful with that, who've gone through the growing pains already, who are kind of
Mhm.
learning, or like I said, Anthem was a massive failure, because of just bad management, and they didn't know how to make a looter shooter that was going to have microtransactions. So now
Mhm.
that brings me to the other thing I want to talk about is single player games now, because of um Jedi Fallen Order. I think EA finally said, "Wow, people, we made some money on that thing." Like, wow,
Wow.
yeah, like what else can we do, like, to make us some
This
cash,
is news to us.
right? And now we're getting a Dead Space remake. We're getting a Black
Yes.
Panther single player game. Apparently, word on the street is there's another single player Marvel game that they're getting after Black Panther. So that's
Oh.
interesting. Yeah. And then a partner game, they won game of the EA game won game of the year with It Takes Two, which is a what's called a partnered game. So Joseph
Mhm.
Fares isn't
Mhm.
owned by them. He's just partners with them. They help publish his games. So
Mhm.
there's supposed to be another one or whatever, and then the sequel to Jedi Fallen Order is also on its way, called Jedi Survivor. So that'll be coming out, and I think that's great. It's a crazy time right now where it's like Microsoft is about to own Activision. EA is making single player games. Bungie went from Microsoft to Activision to Sony. It's been around the block, like Bungie's been passed around like a cheap date, like a drunk date at a
Dating
bad
sim, dating
party.
sim.
Yeah, it's like just passed around, B, because they've gone with the three big ones that are fighting right now. Because and what's crazy is that if they would have not bought themselves out of the Activision deal, right? They imagine if they would have been owned by Microsoft again. That would have been so hilarious. I'm pretty
Oh
sure
my
the Halo would
gosh.
have went back to them. Would have been like, please take Halo back, please, because 343, I don't know what the fuck they doing. Those devs that stayed, that was like the B team. Everyone's like, oh, but 343 is made from it. But well, they're not the guys who made Destiny, that's for sure. Because I'm like,
Mhm.
the guys who made Halo went to Destiny. That's why Destiny feels so good to play, and it felt like the reimagining of what Halo, a modern Halo could have been. And it's like everybody else should stay behind. I don't know what the fuck they're doing over at 343. So but yeah, I think this is an amazing time right now. EA is coming back with with some single player first party games, and I'm here for that.
Hell yeah.
I did get a kick out of this. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and with that Lucy James was on it, the British from like Giant Bomb and GameSpot, and she's like, oh, what about what she called it, what about Yarny? What's Yarny doing? Is they gonna come with a Yarny game? She's talking about Unraveled. And I was like, I
Oh,
just gotta, yeah, exactly. I just thought you'd get a kick out. Just call it
Yarn.
Yarny. She's like, what's Yarny up to? I was like, that's funny. They should come out with another one, but it's
They
doubtful.
could. Mm,
Yeah, yeah.
I think the second one was okay.
Okay, that's
The
right. You
first one
forgot you
was,
streamed both games. So what you
yeah,
so
I
so
did play
so they're
both
good
of
with
them.
Yarny. They don't need any more Yarny games.
Yarny can rest in the pouch with the rest of the Yarnies.
Okay, so he'll be in the EA All Star Battle game. That
There you go, Yarny.
he'll just come out. He'll be a character that fights in their
Swinging around
Smash.
yarn balls.
Yup, in their Smash wannabe or whatever. Oh
Come
man,
here.
that's not
Come on
actually a
over
thing, by
here.
the way. I'm just making that up. But yeah, it's just an interesting time. I really hope other people see that, and I hope this becomes a trend, a trend, but it sticks as a trend among the people that normally don't do this type of thing. You know what I mean? Which is
Mhm.
only, I mean,
Mhm.
Activision's trying a little bit. That's gonna be owned by Microsoft, so maybe they'll have a single player game here or there. That comes out, but hopefully now, like, because Activision's still gonna kind of be doing its own thing under Microsoft, but still doing their own thing. So hopefully we'll see, them come out with, some single player games or whatever, that people don't think would come out or whatnot. So
I'm here for single player games. as long as they have some really good quality behind them. That's why I really enjoy Sony games.
Exactly.
They have the production, the value, the quality, they put all the money and the work and all the everything in it, and they come up with really great stuff. So
Exactly.
if it's something on Sony level, I am here for it.
Sony. Pfeffer's a Sony pony.
I um, I bounce back and forth. My Xbox is all reliable, but Death Stranding and all the quality Sony games are they're good. They add that value. They have that value, So I can appreciate that instead of coming out with another typical I don't know why Ubisoft is just coming to my head because it's just a repetitive kind of thing. You just do that,
Yeah.
just kind of do the typical stuff on there. It's repetition.
I just hope
But
that whatever
Sony's got
this now that you're saying Ubisoft, I just hope that whole Tencent deal actually does something with their with their IPs, because now they finally got a writer for that's what I forgot to mention earlier in the news. Like they got a writer for Beyond Good and Evil finally,
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
Mhm.
now the game, I think the game's being tested, but I guess there's no real writing yet. So I guess just the mechanics and some stuff is being tested right now.
Mhm.
But yeah, now there's they got a new lead writer finally for this, and we'll see what happens because they fired that other guy who tried to get a job at Tencent, I think it was, or NetEase. The guy who was like cheating on his wife. It was so silly. I mean, yeah, you're a dirtbag. Don't get me wrong. He was a dirtbag. He was cheating on his wife. He was lying to other people, leveraging his position. I think that's what made him worth
That's what
leaving. He
turned
was,
him to
yeah, like it
yeah,
wasn't just the
yeah.
cheating. It was like he was leveraging his
He's just
position to,
pure on full on
like,
scumbag.
I run my own team at gaming. Wanna fuck? Oh, you heard that? The trunk guy was like, "Wanna fuck?" So I don't know
And
if you
that
guys
means yes.
exactly. I don't know if you guys heard that, but there was a truck in the background. Oh man, they're
Oh,
repaving all
man.
our roads on the outside. They cut all the roads. Now they're finally paving it. It's ridiculous. But yeah. So yeah, I think that's all I really wanted to say. Was there anything else you wanted to add or discuss that we forgot or anything?
I know there were some indie games that came out. I haven't I'd rather take a look into them a little bit more so I have more of an idea on them. I know Cult of the Lamb is coming out sometime soon. So we're gonna
Right.
keep a look on that. I know I applied to see if I can receive a review key. I don't think I'm gonna get it, but uh but well we can a girl can hope. Okay. Okay.
Exactly.
Um Other than that, no, not really, no. No, no, no.
Yeah.
No,
All
no,
right.
no.
Well, yeah, I guess that's it from me as well. I don't really have anything. That was pretty much all the news I wanted to cover this week. It's been fun, sticking with the podcast. Last week we had Canadianator on, which is a friend from our Discord community. I'm gonna be soon opening up the VGXL Discord group community, trying to build that up a little bit. Soon. If you've been on the podcast or whatnot, you're probably already sitting in there with no activity. But I definitely would like to make that something more, people who are listeners to come hang out, talk shit, maybe do game nights. We'll see what happens, but it's definitely something in the works that I've been thinking about for a long time. And as the podcast keeps growing, and it is growing, the numbers are going up, people are listening. I want to do more things and build up more, more stuff. So be on the lookout for that.
Mm-hmm.
And more guests too, because we definitely are working on getting more industry guests as well as friends on the show. So be on the lookout for those things as well. And yeah, it's a great way to stay in shape.
Yes.
See
you on the next one.
Yep. All right. And thank you. If you made it this far, I really appreciate it. Don't forget to follow, hit the like button. It helps people find it. If you can rate it on Apple Podcasts, or if there's any rating system where you're listening, please give it a high, the highest rating that you can, so people can find us and listen and help us grow. And
exactly. And if you even want to comment on YouTube and whatnot, what are your thoughts on the whole Xbox thing with or anything? I mean,
the
are you
family
into Mario
plans, yeah,
Kart, the family
Pokemon.
plan?
Mhm.
Yeah, Pokemon. Are there any indie games that you're looking into?
Are you gonna buy Spider-Man on PC? Oh snap!
Exactly.
All right.
Let us know.
And see you on the next one.